Hey guys, welcome to Tina Talks, where I just talk about it. Hey guys, so I'm back. Let me tell you, I had a prophetic dream last night. As some of you know who I'm close with, I have these sometimes, but this one was really, it felt so real. It was life changing, as you know, many of the dreams are. But it literally put a sense of urgency, in my life and on me. So recently, I was in New Orleans, my hometown, and I went to visit a prophetess who I follow, who has, been definitely consistent in my life as far as helping me develop, helping me just to really break through with my gifts. And she was speaking to me, this is a few days ago, and she was speaking to me about, she sees me in front of the Red Sea and kind of like, just being stagnated and just like, I've already left my Egypt, but I'm here to cross over and go through, to this promised land, but I'm kind of like in this wilderness area. And basically it's saying like, move forward, like she just basically telling like you have to move forward. You have to really show your friends who you truly are. And it's interesting because a good friend of mine also told me that a couple I want to say months ago. And I kind of dwelled on it and I let it go. And then when prophetess told me, I was like, start dwelling on it again. I was like, Lord, what is it? Like, what am I not being real about? Like, what am I not, And like she was telling me, it's like, you need to show them who you truly are. And I felt in my spirit what that really meant was, as many times that God does give me like a word, prophecy, revelation about certain people in my life, and I don't share that information for fear of, and it's interesting because it always comes to pass. I always see it and I get confirmation that it's real and that it's God, but I always have this fear that kind of blocks me from saying anything, and this can really help people, but when she said that, it really made me think because recently this past weekend, one of my cousins who I'm not really close with was killed, and I actually had a prophetic dream about him, that like a mountain was standing in his way and that there was just like this strong need of this urgency for protection that he needed. And because I'm not close with him, I didn't reach out to him, and doubted a little bit also, I won't lie. And he actually ended up being killed. And it's not that I feel like I have blood on my hands, but I mean, in essence, I kind of feel like I do a little bit, because it's like, okay, maybe something I could have said, or if I'd have reached out, God could have really used me to really break through in his life. And I didn't allow God to do that. And it's so amazing because I'm always saying, God, use me, use me, use me. And he gives me these opportunities. And I think that's what he's showing me. It's like, through your dreams, I'm giving you opportunity to be used to help people. This is your gift. When I give you a word, speak it. Don't hide in fear. You have to press forward. You're not going to get to the promised land like that. And it makes me think about Moses, because Moses, that was the same thing. His people were coming to him, like a whole mob came to him, and they were tired. They were in the wilderness and they were so frustrated about being in the wilderness. And they wanted to do things their own way and get into the promised land their own way instead of God's way. And, Moses kind of like, was disobedient to God in the sense of he went to do what would please the people and shut the crowd up to please them, and essentially he lost his ticket, which was a promise, to get to the promised land. Like, he was promised that, and that was taken away. And we have to remember, like, through disobedience, promises that God puts in our lives can be taken away. It's not through sin. It's not through us being perfect. It's not through that. It's by blatant disobedience to what God is instructing you to do in life. But how this ties into the dream was, I had this dream. So I was at work. I was like on a business trip or whatnot. And I was on my way back and I'm on this plane. I'm by myself. And the pilot comes on and he's like telling people, hey, this is, and it felt like the future. I ain't gonna lie. It seemed similar to like nowadays, like what things look like and how things interact. But you could tell like it was like in the future. Like I was maybe a little bit older or whatnot. But anyways, I'm on this plane and he said, hey, you can turn on the TVs. He told, he was in the cockpit and he put on the intercom, hey, you can turn on the TVs. This is the time that the Jews and the Christians are navigating to their place, awaiting for Christ's second return. And it was just so weird to me, it's like, okay, because I'm a believer and I do believe that. And, I know, people are awaiting Christ's second return. But it was just so surreal. So anyway, we're on this plane. So this guy that was next to me, he just turns on the TV, and then they all start turning on the TVs in the plane. They start turning on the TVs in the plane, and we see this. It's like we see this. It was like a mob of people. It seemed like they were just, a group, like special groups. Like they were like these overseers or these prophets or these people that are in high rankings in I guess the Jewish and the Christian religions. But anyway, they were navigating going to wait Christ's second return. There was like a headline. You know how the news is, they have like a headline written on the bottom, whatever. So we see this happening, and literally all of a sudden, certain people, not everyone, certain people on the plane started to float like into they started lifting out of their seats like they were floating up, like they were like they were ascending, like they were going up. And I'm like, whoa, and immediately I'm looking at what's going on the TV. I'm looking at me as a believer, and I'm like, oh my God, automatically I thought of, this is the rapture. Like that's just what I thought. It's like, but I could visually see him. I know what the rapture, they say it just in a blink of an eye, people are just disappear, come out their clothes and whatever, just disintegrate into the air and go into, heaven or wherever. But I just knew, like in my spirit, like this was the rapture. Like God was taking his people up. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I wasn't floating up. I'm still sitting in my seat. I'm like, oh my God, Lord, what is it? What is it? I don't want to be left behind. What is it? What is it? But it was kind of like I'm talking to myself. It's like other people on the plane didn't really know what was going on, but I knew. I'm like, this is it. This is it. I'm like, God, what is it? Why ain't I lifting? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, what I'm saying? And I quickly reviewed my life. It was like, it literally happened in seconds. I literally reviewed my life wondering, like, what was it? And all of a sudden I thought, Charlie. And it's crazy because I had a discussion with one of my good friends, spiritual mentor of mine. I always call him that, Zion. And we were talking about Charlie. We talked about this scenario. I think this was literally 2 months ago, I think November. And he was like, what would you do if you know that you know? Or it could have been his wife. But he's like, what would you do if you know God is calling you? And he said, leave everything behind. Leave your family, everything you own, your daughter, everything, and just come with me. Just leave them. Like if the world was ending. Like would you leave it all behind and go with him? And I was like, man, it would be so hard for me. I ain't gonna lie. Like, even if I knew it was God, it would be hard for me to leave my child like behind. And then we kind of got to the discussion of, idolization and what that looks like. And that's also something we have to realize, like we're put on this earth, like to be a witness, to save souls, to be good stewards over the gifts that we get, which is like our finances, our children, things that God gifts to us. So I thought, like, I'm on the plane. So like that conversation, it was almost like in real time. Like that conversation came to my mind so quickly. And I'm like, Charlie. And I said, oh my God, forget it, God. I don't care. I leave her. I don't care. I leave her. And I literally began to float. And it's like, oh, and I knew in that moment I was, like I was saved. And it's like a few minutes later, I would say a few moments, few seconds, we all fell planted back into our seats. And it's like I knew what it was. Like I knew in my spirit that this was Christ's like warning. I felt like this was like a warning. Like, this ain't the real thing. but I'm showing you like who it is and who it isn't. I'm showing you, did you float, did you not, are you ready? And that really put my mind into a place where, man, I wasn't ready because I hadn't fully given it all. And then I realized in that moment I hadn't fully surrendered like my daughter to God. Like I had been holding on and idolizing, and we live to serve, and we serve our loved ones, and we do for them, in a way. But it has to be in a healthy manner. It can't be in an obsessive kind of way that you can't be allowing your children or people or things to fill voids that God should fill. And I feel like he was really showing me in that moment that, I hadn't fully let her go in that way, that I'm actually holding on to her in a sense, not letting go of whatever void it is, like in my life, and idolizing her in that way, because idols don't always have to be something that people look at stuff like you're obsessed about, or it's really a sense of something that you refuse to part with, that is separating you from reaching all that God has for you, from reaching that full potential with God. And in that moment, because I was thinking, I'm like, what is it? I didn't let everything go. Family, friends, it's nothing, but he showed me that it was Charlie. And it was just amazing, because that was also, like I said, confirmation from a conversation that I had with my friends literally like a couple months ago. And it just gave me such a relief to know that hey, if I let this go, that you'll be fully right with me. Like he showed me that's what the block was. That's what the block is. Because I was wondering, like, Lord, what's the block? And that's what the block is. And I think it's a block because, she is my connection to my past, in a sense. People use that. A lot of people in my past, or I even use her as a sense of being still connected, to my past. In a sense, and that makes sense of me sitting at that Red Sea, like not fully leaving it behind, like letting it go. And there's aspects of that relationship that I actually need to go back and reflect on. But what God gave me, let me finish my dream first. Let me just finish my dream. So I called Tracy and Zion. These are my friends I was telling you about. I called them and I told them what happened, and I asked if they experienced it, and they said no. I said, well, it must have been an isolated experience. But at the same time, I felt like this was a worldwide experience in the dream. And I felt like it was a warning, and it was around Christmas time. And it just, God like put this sense of urgency in me to let people know that what I already know, but I need to be vocal and open with it. Like, Christ is coming back, and we need to be ready. Whether you believe or not is relevant to you being saved, but it don't matter if you believe or not. Like, it is going to happen, and we need to be ready. Everybody need to be ready. Like, we need, I felt like he put a sense of urgency on me to let people know, that they need to reflect and assess their lives to see if they are ready. If they are ready or not. Because this can happen any day now. And I feel like he's putting the responsibility on me to let people know that this is real. Like, this is real. Like, there's so many idols and things in our life that we don't talk about, that are really blocking us from our purpose, blocking us from living in our truth, blocking us from even, reaching God and being able to be saved, on that day. Like, so, I really, really feel in my spirit, like when I woke up, I just knew, I'm like, you need to tell the world. You got to tell the world this. And no, I'm not known across the world, and I don't have a huge following on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. But whoever this can reach, wherever it can reach, like, please know that God is real. Christ is real, and he is coming back. And you really need to get yourself together. And that's including me. I'm not saying this ain't no judgment call. We all sin and fall short. We all do. But what is it blocking you from getting your relationship right with God? What is it blocking you from knowing that you will have eternal life, like with Christ, like you will have eternal life with God? Like, what is it? What is it? Because it is real, y'all. And I don't want any of my loved ones to be lost. I don't want anybody to be left out on that day. I didn't want to be left out, but I was able to say, forget it. Even my daughter, how, a lot of people, the world may say that's not love. but that is love. God says, you put nothing before me. I came in this world alone. Charlie came in this world alone. I am not her keeper, and she is not my keeper. That is a world view. But what we are is to live the truth and to tell the truth. And that is what I'm doing here. I'm vowing I'm living the truth, and I'm going to tell the truth. And this is just what it is. You know, there is a life after death. There is a Christ. He did come to save the world. But you can only access that if you invite him in. You know? And you can only maintain that if you block out, allow him to push out all the idols that are in your life, all the stumbling blocks that are in your life, anything that's blinding you from not walking in truth, that's distracting you from not living in your purpose. It's his will. We can't continue to live in our will that is not even bringing us happiness, peace, or joy. Not true happiness, peace, or joy. It's bringing us moments of pleasure, and it's a deception. We need eternal. We need to be able to rest eternally. You cannot rest eternally if your soul is not resting, and your soul can only rest through Christ Jesus. So I just wanted to put this message out there. I really hope people listen to it. This dream was so real, and I really should have recorded this when I first woke up because the spirit was so heavy. This is real. I'm not playing with it no more, y'all. I refuse to play with it. Assess your motives. Assess your intentions. If you have strongholds in your life, fast it out. Do what you have to do. Get in alignment. I remember the prophet told me a few days ago, she was like, you wonder why, because I sold, and you're going to read in my upcoming book, but I sold so much in 2020. And I sold so much, but I received so much more in return. It was a constant flow. It was a constant flow. And she said that too. She read me. She was like, you wonder why you sowing, and now your finances are at a standstill. And I'm like, only God can know that. She knew that. You know, I don't publicly speak that. You know, she doesn't follow me on YouTube or anything where I could have said it. She read that. And that was nothing but the Spirit of God. And she was, and that was God speaking through her. It's like, this is why, because you have an urgency on you to tell the truth. You have an urgency on you to walk in truth. You have an urgency on you to be the real Christina. You have an urgency on you to not put anything before God. It's an urgency on me. He's ready for me to live this gift. He's ready for me to fully allow him to use me. And when that stuff happened with my cousin just this past weekend, like, there was no other slap to the face that I could have had in confirmation that I'm going to allow this to happen to any more of my loved ones or anyone. Because God says, even love your neighbors as you love yourself. I got to love me. Trust the God in me, you know, and I have to in turn love everybody. So when God gives me a word, I'm going to speak it. I don't care who got to hear it. I don't care how it come out. It's going to come out. When you call it to prophecy, you have to let it come out how God give it to you. You know what I'm saying? And I have to get that strength and that courage. God didn't put a spirit of fear, but a spirit of boldness inside of us. Use it. We got to stop trying to impress people. You're not doing nothing but killing their souls. And we're, God looking at us, judging us for that. Yes, he will forgive us. But why would you want that to constantly happen to people that can be saved? I look back on plenty of people at my jobs and past experiences that I'm so-called Christian, but I'm not. They don't know that I'm a Christian. They don't know that I serve God. They don't know the Christ that lives in me because I'm emulating what I see or giving them what they might want. I can't keep living like that. None of us can keep living like that. So I vow to be used, and I will be used. And I'm giving this word, and I hope people are here to receive this word. It's real. Like, it really woke me up. Like, there is nothing more important. This life is temporary. You're lucky if you get 60 years. But after this, there's an eternity. And we need to stop living like it's not one. So please, if you haven't given your life to Christ, do so. If you want to talk to me, send me a message, you can do so. I'll even put my email in this description, and we can talk. It's time for our gifts. It's time for the kingdom of God to be strengthened. God is calling his people and he's unleashing gifts, and we have to use them. Because this is a battlefield. This is spiritual warfare. Man, I can go on and on, but I wanted to reveal that dream. It was just amazing to me, and it was prophecy, and God wanted me to share it. So I hope you've been blessed.